NFC North should be real competitive this year. You have starting off with the defending Super Bowl champions. How do they respond? Do they have a little hangover of celebrating too much? They didn't organize any player organized practices. You got off Aaron Rodgers, who's now with that Super Bowl win in the years that he's put up, is now becoming an elite quarterback in this league. Some people argue he's the best quarterback in this league. Threw over 3,900 yards last year, 28 touchdowns. Can he stay healthy enough and stay upright and not have as many concussions? He's had concussion problems in the past. Hopefully he doesn't come out with Troy Aikman and he has to end his career early due to concussions, because I think he's one of the brightest young stars as a quarterback in this league that we've seen. Keep moving on to the running back position. Ryan Grant, one of the young running backs in this league. He's been injured. He got hurt last year. It really hurt their run game. He's been a 1,000-yard rusher in the past. If he could stay healthy, they should really get a running game with him. He should have a breakout year as well. Also, keep an eye out on James Starks, who really came onto the scene in the playoffs last year and helped the Packers get that running game, or just be effective in a running game for them, so Aaron Rodgers can play fake and they can respect and pass the ball. They have one of the deepest wide receiver cores in all the football. You look at Greg Jennings, look at Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, James Jones. But watch out for a guy, Randall Cobb, this year. They got out of Kentucky in the second round. He should help out in either the slot or outside. Also, you could look for wildcat formations. He's a guy that can throw the football. He can run extremely well. Should help out on special teams, in the kick return and possibly punt return game. But he's a guy who could be a playmaker, make an instant impact on this type of team. Especially they're extremely deep at tight end. Jermichael Finley, who I think, if he can stay healthy, can be the best tight end in all of football. We have guys who stepped up from behind him when he got hurt last year, and Andre Corliss, as well as Tom Crabtree. But I think one guy you need to look forward to, he may not make an impact now, but he may make one later on down the road, is DJ Williams. He's a guy who has tremendous speed. He's a little undersized at 6'1", 6'2". He's a guy who can motion into the backfield as an H-back. He can spread out wide. He's a guy who could create mismatch problems for them. Can this offensive line keep Rodgers upright? You got two young tackles, Brian Bulaga, the first-round pick out of last year, and also the first-round pick that they got this year, and Derek Sherrod. He's one of the most athletic guys I've seen at the tackle position. Is he ready enough? Is he ready to start? Or whenever it is his time to start, he's ready to start at that other tackle position to protect Aaron Rodgers and keep him upright and keep him healthy. Moving on to the defense, they lost Cullen Jacobs to the Philadelphia Eagles, but they really like Mike Neal a lot. And also Ryan Pickett. B.J. Araji is probably one of the best nose tackles in the game. He really helps out in the run game, but he has that rare ability and that rare quickness to put pressure on the quarterback in the pass game, and he's one of those rare exceptions at that defensive tackle, at that nose tackle position, like a Lodi Naha, to put pressure on your quarterback in the passing game as well as the run game. They're really solid inside at the middle linebacker positions in that 34 look with A.J. Hawk and Desmond Bishop. You have Clay Matthews on the outside, probably, if not the best outside linebacker, pass rushing guy in this league. He's also really good really good, in my opinion, in pass coverage. At the other side, you got guys with experience with Eric Walden and Frank Zombo, who should really be battling for that starting job on that side. Very strong secondary. They're tremendously deep at corner. You could tell by last year with when Charles Woodson went down in the Super Bowl, Sam Shields really stepped up. But you have Charles Woodson coming back. You have Tramon Williams, who's really came on late last year. Pat Lee, he's going to be a guy to watch out for. At the secondary position, Nick Collins is one of the best free safeties in football, a ball hawk guy. So had an interception for a touchdown last year in the Super Bowl. But watch out for Morgan Barnett. They like this guy a lot. He was a starter last year but got hurt. Morgan Barnett, I think, could be a playmaker as well in that secondary for the Green Bay Packers. Moving on to the Chicago Bears. How did Jay Cutler respond to all the negative criticism he's gotten ever since the NFC Championship game? Can he cut down his mistakes a lot, make better decisions, with the football, and can he stay upright? Got sacked a lot last year. They're really solid at the running back position with Matt Forte, who came on last year with over 1,000 yards. Very good hands out of the backfield. There was questions about how did they was really struggling on how they could score on and convert on goal line situations. They brought in Marion Barber, who should help out with that. I think he's a real good complement to Matt Forte. Getting Roy Williams to me was a good fit for them. They needed that big target in the red zone that could go out in the over jump guys and just jump over DBs and make plays in the red zone. You have Devin Hester and Johnny Knox on the outside who can create speed, who can stretch the field for you, but they needed help in the red zone. I think adding Roy Williams should help out a lot. Dane Sanzenbacher should really help out in the slot for this team. He's a guy who's going to be he's a really underrated guy, but he's that guy that you can rely on with his hands, and Kellen Moore at the tight end position should really help out. How much improved is this defensive line offensive line from last year? Offensive line really struggled. They had that one game against the Giants where they gave up, I think, about 8 sacks in the first half. They lost their leader of that offense, you could say, in Olin Kreutz. You moved Robert Garza to center. Drafted Gabe Karimi at the tackle position. You moved Chris Williams to guard because he really didn't help out. He really wasn't suited to really protect the blind side of Jay Cutler. So how is his offensive line really improved from last year? Solid defensive line. You lost Tommy Harrison inside, but Henry Melton's a guy they really like a lot. Can they stop the run this year? You know about they can really get after the pass rusher, especially with Henry Melton, who's a guy who's a converted end, can play tackle and move to tackle, and he should create a lot of mismatches for guards with his quickness. And you have Julius Peppers, probably the best end in all of football. They need to find depth in the linebacker position behind guys like Lance Briggs or Brian Urlacher. They're solid there, but they got to get guys who are depth. And they have really solid, I think they have solid, and they're deep at corner with Charles Tillman, Tim Jennings, Zach Beaumont, and DJ Moore, who I really like a lot. They have questions at secondary, but they signed Brandon Merriweather, should help out. They're deep, but they have questions there. Chris Harris, Major Wright, and Greg Steels should really help out a lot at that secondary position, and hopefully and really just like improve that team, because they lost Daniel Manning to the Texans. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings, can Donovan McNabb gain his respect that he has in the league? He was in Washington last year, really got run out of town there, had a bad year there, and people think that Donovan McNabb is done. I think this is where he can prove to everybody that he really isn't. They drafted Christian Ponder in the first round, so they have an insurance guy. He can learn behind Donovan McNabb, and he could be the guy for the future for them. Can Toby Gerhart or Lorenzo Booker or Lorenzo Booker really help out Adrian Peterson, who's the best back in football? Adrian Peterson is a guy. How healthy can he stay getting all those carries throughout his career? Could Toby Gerhart, Lorenzo Booker just take some of that load off of him and help out in the run game? Wide receivers, they're really iffy. They're decent at wide receiver. You got Bernard Berrian, who should really feel at home now that he's got, because Donovan McNabb loves to throw the deep ball. He's a guy who can stretch the field for them. Michael Jenkins from Atlanta, you brought over. You signed him. Percy Harvin, who's a playmaker for them in the special teams game, to help out in the slot, create a lot of mismatch problems. And also Visante Shenko and second-round pick Kyle Rudolph, who I think will probably end up being later on down the road the starting tight end, but is a tight end who can create a lot of mismatch problems with his size and his sneaky speed that he has there. Who starts at the left tackle position for them to replace Brian McKinney? They released him last year because he got overweight, and they just cut ties with him. So you got Charlie Johnson and rookie Demarcus Love from Arkansas, who are going to be at that left tackle position. But I want to see how this team can keep Donovan McNabb upright. Moving on to the defense, Brian Roberson is now going to be starting at the end position. He's going to replace Ray Edwards. They like him a lot. He's a really good pass rusher, I think, with Jared Allen. Jared Allen seeing a lot of double teams. Brian Roberson may be a guy who should help out a lot. They have questions at the defensive tackle position. They lost Wood. They lost the Williams-Tins. They was really solid. They was one of those teams who were really solid up the middle last year. I want to see what they do there. Christian Ballard is a guy you need to look out for. They're solid at linebacker position with Chad Greenway and EJ and Aaron Henderson. Those guys should help out a lot. They should be really solid there. And they're solid at the secondary position with great depth at corner with Antoine Whitfield, Asher Allen, Cedric Griffin coming off that knee injury. How does he respond off of that second ACL tear? And Chris Cook, who they got a couple years ago, second round pick out of Virginia. How does he help out a lot? I think they should help out, but they do have some questions at safety, I think, that can really hurt them. Moving on to the Detroit Lions, one of the most intriguing teams. People think that this team can make it into the playoffs this year. Can Matthew Stafford finally stay healthy this year? Can that offensive line keep him upright? Javid Best the same way. Should he help? He's a dynamic playmaker, but he has health issues as well. They thought they had another guy another guy there. Well, Michael LaShore, who's going to help out a lot, of rookie out of Illinois, but he's out for the season due to injury. So that really hurts their depth at the running back position. You got Calvin Johnson. They're really solid at the running back wide receiver spot with one of the best wide receivers, Calvin Johnson. You have Nate Burleson, who can help on the outside. Titus Young should help out, a rookie out of Boise State. He should help out in the slot. And you also got Brandon Pettigrew and Tony Scheffler at the tight end position, who should help out a lot. And can this offensive line, like I said, can they stand up and help protect Matthew Stafford? Moving on to that defense, their defensive line is going to be really solid. Sue should really help out. He's going to help out a lot. One of the best tackles in the football. Might be one of the best players now in all of football. 10 sacks last year as a rookie. They got Nick Fairley out of Auburn. Top 5 guy. Top 5 pick, should help out alongside Sue later on down the road. He got hurt out a couple of weeks, and they have. I really do want to have questions where they're going to get pass rush from. They have Kevin Vanderbosch, who's really helped out, but I think he's getting a little older, up in age. Can he still bring that solid pass rush that they have? I think they upgraded a lot at the linebacker position, getting Justin Durant and Stephen Tulloch. They should help out a lot. And how improved is that secondary, especially at the corner spots where they got burned a lot last year? Is that secondary really, really good to take that next step with the signings at corner of Chris Houston and Eric Wright? Like I said, there's a lot of teams. The Lions have a lot of intrigue, to them to be a team that could really push. You got the defending Super Bowl champs there. You have the Bears, who's in the NFC Championship game last year, and you also have the Vikings. So this conference is really deep. This division is really deep, and you could probably get 1 or 2 teams to vie for the playoff spot in this division alone. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments on below. Let me know what you guys think about this division. What do you like about the Lions? Do you think the Lions could make it to the playoffs this year? So you guys later. Thanks a lot.